big thank you to Dr. Zana Marovic for joining us today, and she's going to be leading our discussion, a discussion that's really very needed, especially in these times right now of us living in this, all this uncertainty. So she's going to be talking about us keeping sane during difficult times and lockdown and beyond. And I think just being able to go out and exercise this morning has been a huge tick. I mean, for me personally, it's been a huge tick. I've never seen so many people on the streets and everybody smiling and saying hello. It was like, we've all been let free. So it was a wonderful morning to start. A wonderful way to start the day today. Just a little bit of background on Zana before I'm going to hand over to her. We did send out a link to Zana so that you could see who she is, but I'll just give you a little bit of a rundown. Zana is a doctor in psychology. She's an international speaker and trainer for integrative psychotherapy. She practices as a clinical psychologist and an integrative psychotherapist, hypnotherapist, and remedial yoga therapist. And she holds a PhD in health psychology. So we really are very blessed this morning to have such an expert with us who's going to share some insights. And as you all got in the memo, hopefully we are going to be ending our session with a much needed meditation. And what we'll suggest that you guys do is that you actually record the meditation maybe on your cell phones, even though you're going to get a recording of this, our discussion today. You don't want to have to listen to the whole discussion. So before Zana introduces the meditation, I think it would be a good idea that you guys record it, because then you can use that ongoing during your daytimes. Okay, so Zana, if you're happy, I'm going to hand over to you.
Sure. Thank you so much, Melissa.
Hi.
Hello, everybody. I can't see you all, unfortunately. I only see a few of you, but I hope you can see me and you can hear me and that you can see my slides. Just to tell you, because it's quite a lot of people, we have, from what I can see, 22 participants. 1 hour is extremely short time to actually have really a discussion, so to speak. So what I thought is that we rather kind of go through some resources and things that I hope you will find useful. And I'm trying to give you as much as I can in this very short space of time. So you will see there are quite a lot of videos that I have prepared. There is a meditation, there is a little bit of exercise we'll do together. And what I want to tell you is I have sent to Kubeshni already a PDF file, which just has like the most important points and homeworks and things. It will make it also easier for you to work on that and not just have recorded stuff, as well as that hopefully you will record my meditation on your phone, and that will be another resource that you can use in the future. So I hope you will have some benefits, and the idea is just to inspire you. You know, I don't have all the answers, neither I think any of us has, lots of uncertainty, but this is just the, sort of hopefully something, this conversation can inspire you to take more empowered position in the lockdown. So let me just start. Oh, sorry, I'm now seeing something else. I don't know why I'm seeing on my screen something that, oh God, okay.
We can see your content page, Zana, is that correct?
No. Problem. So let me just switch off. Sorry guys, we really struggled with trying to work. Sorry, I'm just going back. Played. Okay, so quickly, what we'll sort of cover, or try to cover, just quickly, what is the stress and what sort of things are stressing us out at the moment, and what could be the effects of that. I'll just briefly cover how our mood is related to our gut and about the gut brain, and some very relevant points about the food and eating at the moment. I'll talk a bit about coping strategies, and some of you had sent your points in how you're coping. We'll just quickly go through that. I'll briefly mention something about resilience, then talk about power of the negative and positive thinking. I have a video about that. Baby steps, self-compassion, and how we're managing our internal dialogue. We'll do exercise on gratitude. I'll give you some homework. If you would like to, you can do it or not. And then I'll share some resources that include some books and online stuff. And then we're doing meditation and close. So that's what we're covering today. Oh, I keep having, I don't know what's going on. Okay. So this is, I think, how we all feel. I just want to share this. 2020 is a unique leap year. It has 29 days in February, 300 days in March, and 5 years in April. And I think this sort of describes how we're all feeling in South Africa at the moment. So one of the things that I want to start with is what you all received in respect of how anxious are you between 1 and 5. So, if you're feeling could not be better, which I think not many people seem to feel like, doing what I have to, which probably is your 2 or 3, and then call 911, which is number 5. I want to say that most of you seem to talk about number 3 to 5. So, to talk about briefly, one of the most difficult situations at the moment is that although we are saving ourselves from the virus and not dying from the virus, we are creating another kind of a pandemic of the mental health problems. So, because there has been so little that we can do and we've been stuck at home with lots of uncertainty and problems, what's going on at the moment is that we are seeing not just an acute stress situation, it's now becoming chronic and prolonged stress situation. One of the difficulties that I'm finding talking to my clients online and talking to colleagues is that there are already quite a significant impact on everybody's body and mental health. And just briefly, if you look at this slide, what are the effects of the stress on the long-term health? You can see almost each and every area, from your neck and shoulders, arteries, lungs, your liver and pancreas, your hormones, your hair, muscles, your heart, your stomach, the gut, your weight and the food, the skin. And then the part of the brain, which is on top, depression, anxiety, insomnia, migraines, low energy. And this is what I've been seeing, like my difference in my online sessions this time is almost nobody has anything good to tell me. Most people I'm talking to are really not in a great space. And I suppose the difference is between I'm really stressed or I'm now getting into a point of where I'm anxious or depressed. I have in one of the resources at the end of the presentation, I'm inviting all of you to go and check your levels of stress and anxiety. Why I'm saying that is because there is a difference between stress and anxiety. When you're stressed, we all have a hormone called cortisol, which will be now going through your body when you're stressing. Now, if you're stressing every day a lot, all the time, for many days, you are going to possibly start experiencing not just stress, but potentially anxiety problems and even depression. Now, I have included an alternative medicine that I will tell you a little bit about later, that I think is my magic pill that I've been advising everybody to take. It's called ashwagandha. And it basically just lowers cortisol levels. So it just works on your stress levels. And since your stress levels have the most important impact on one thing we don't want to go down, which is immune system, what you would really need to work on is making sure that stress levels are as low as possible. And one of the medication, if you're not yet at the level of 5 stress and anxiety every day, so, depending on where your stress level is, what we're talking today is really helping us to perhaps get to level 1 or 2, or hopefully not more than 3. If your levels of stress had been 5, for whatever the reasons, for many days or few weeks, you might already be experiencing anxiety. If you are experiencing anxiety or depression, you may need to actually consult somebody professional. And, you know, this kind of talk may not necessarily do that much for you. So just please do some of the tests that I gave you, the resources. And if there is any concern, you're welcome either to contact me or your therapist or anybody else that you may know that can help you. Okay. So just another point about the stress. I want to mention that, you know, just anatomy quickly of the stress is that when you're stressed, there is a system that in your body is overworking, which is the sympathetic system. The problem with that sympathetic system overworking is that that is what eventually leads to anxiety disorders. So be careful about that stress, because that's what can happen. The parasympathetic system, which is on your right, is what actually does healing of the body and gets everything to work. So basically, the parasympathetic system is working either when you just had digested or digesting the food, when you're sleeping, when you're relaxing, when you're meditating. So when you're doing any activity that is basically activating the parasympathetic system, which would mean you are relaxing or doing something like digesting, you are basically healing and giving your body a time to combat the stress response, which is the sympathetic system. Now, none of you in answers have actually mentioned your eating, and I found that surprising, because I actually think you all kind of lying or didn't mention that. I think that's becoming a problem for thousands of people. Everybody I'm talking to is saying to me, I'm cooking a storm. Might be a good thing, but depending on what you're cooking and what you're eating, and often people are binging like crazy. So I just want to address this. Very briefly, you know, food as a medicine can be sometimes self-destructive medicine or quite a self-productive medicine, so to speak. So what I have seen over the last weeks is huge amount of binge eating. You know, just few little pointers. If you are doing a lot of binge eating and you're gaining weight, what I would say is just, you know, when I say eat this, not that, I'm referring to you just doing a little bit of research in what are the options for a bit of a healthier treat. So let's say people are hugely increased number of calories as well as fat and sweet. So most of my clients are saying, for some reason, I'm craving terribly sweet. And that's quite common. But please, when you do eat your sweets and when you do your shopping, for example, just try and eat dark chocolate rather than just the milk chocolate. That would be your preferable thing. Then crunchy treats. For example, if you feel like you want to eat something sweet, what you may eat rather would be maybe some almonds. That's very healthy and gives you some protein and some fiber. And then right before you munch. So this is a simple little tip. So what I encourage all of you, please, to do your eating journal in the following way. Whenever you feel like you want to go and munch something, you, instead of going to the food, you keep your journal on your counter in the kitchen or near the fridge, and you just go and write down, what is it that I'm feeling right now? And I'll tell you why that is important. That is one of the exercises in starting to do mindful eating. Mindful eating starts with just your awareness of what you're doing when you eat. And one of the aspects of eating is often, how are you feeling when you're having a certain food crave? And people would often say, oh, I'm feeling quite down, or I'm feeling lonely, or I'm feeling bored. That comes a lot. The other one is that people often feel irritable or angry, you know, like they just feel like a bit claustrophobic, and then they keep going to their fridge. So instead of just going and eating, rather try and look at what is going on with how you're feeling, because there is a huge connection, which I'm sure you're aware, between how you're eating and how you're feeling. So just starting with the mindful process would help. And then just quickly about the gut brain, this is really about the research that shows that there is a significant importance of your gut in how you feel. So one of the research, well, actually number of research points that 90% of serotonin, which is the good feel, serotonin is what really helps you to feel up and about and positive. 90% of our serotonin is made in the gut. So what you're eating, so this is now another angle, what you're eating is directly impacting your mood. So they found that there are certain microbes in our gut that might be making us feel depressed and anxious as well as well. So for example, if you're eating a lot of sugary stuff and carbs, you are developing and helping develop certain number of microbes. One of the bacteria that is quite common and commonly found in the gut of people that eat a lot of carbs is called Helicobacteria. Now, Helicobacteria is not great, and it's almost like a little monster that just wants more sugar, you know. And the unfortunate thing is that Helicobacteria is very much found in the gut of people that struggle with depression and anxiety. So be aware that there is a very significant connection between what you're eating and what's your gut feeling and what's happening to your mood. And then immune function, which we're all very keen to improve because of the coronavirus. I have included some online resources for you to look for recipes and the food that can improve your immune functioning, which I think could be another way in how you include a bit of a science as well as a bit of a fun into your eating habits. And then the last one is just the master chef trying new recipes and researching a little bit more rather than just eating any junk stuff.
Zana, can I just, I've just got a question come through from one of the ladies in terms of, she just asked, how do we combat that bacteria?
So this is why I'm giving you the 2 online resources, which we kind of talk a bit about that. In the resources, I have included online stuff and I included some of the books. There is one book on the gut. There is also online course on the gut brain. You will see it's actually an amazing courses that I included. So, you know, we all have maybe a bit more time than usual. So on my resources, you will find there are some lovely online stuff for you to actually, you know, commit to. And they're not long. They're between like 4 weeks, 2 hours a week. You know, but it will help you to try and engage with your health in a very positive and empowering way rather than just sit and feel like a victim of this lockdown. Okay? Yeah. So just very quickly, the gut brain, just some of the sort of advices: avoid antibiotics, avoid eating processed food, eat healthy fats, give probiotics to boost your gut. Limit gluten consumption and have some sesame seeds. Those are just very simple things. But as I say, you will have a lot of resources included, so you won't be having trouble to understand what to do. Okay, in your, I just want to talk about what come up with the struggles. So you guys have given some feedback, and I just want to share with you what most of you spoke about. What you said has been major problem, has been uncertainty. How do I get back to work? Because everybody's freaking out about what's going to happen, and how do I protect from coronavirus, myself, my kids, the school going back? Finances had come up as a major problem. How to remodel the businesses. So some of you are in doing your own business, and the issue has been, how do you remodel the businesses to kind of try and do better with the present situation? How to balance work and your kids having a school, which means online, which means you may need to assist a hell of a lot. The other one that had come up very strongly is worrying about the future. People worrying about the future of their business, worrying about the future of their finances, worrying about the future of their family, worrying about the future of South Africa. And then, you know, quite a few people were talking about, you know, this returning to work. While it's exciting, it's also bringing a lot of anxiety about how do we protect, how it will work out, you know, a lot of uncertainty and details that have not necessarily always been shared with us. You know, obviously I don't have any answers to those, but what I want to talk a little bit about is just what I have found talking to my clients and doing retreats, guiding retreats and group sessions. What are the kind of things that we could all use, and we hopefully are using some of those, that can help us to deal with all those things that you brought up in your answers. So one of the first things that I will say to all of you is creating a routine. My experience talking to my clients has been that people that don't have work and routine seem to struggle more. They often either bored or anxious a lot more. They more often seem to sit and go deeply into very negative, catastrophic thinking and not coping very well. So creating some kind of a routine and a structure is one way in how you can also, you can't necessarily kill the virus, but you can deal with your own little household and the trying to structure what and how you do and how the family members participate. So a lot of my clients, I suggested that they also start having some family sessions where they work out who's doing what, you know, what are you doing with the shopping, you know, the schoolwork, the housework. A lot of people are at the same time using laptops. So there needs to be some kind of, how can I say, a balance between all the people in the household and the family and discussion around that. And when I say using baby step, it's a very important point that I would like you to really, really take today from this conversation. One of the biggest issues I find with people at the moment is feeling overwhelmed. You know, we have so many things to juggle and so many anxieties and uncertainties. So what happens is, you know, you sort of wake up and you start thinking 10,000 things at the same time. And that really is what causes people to either do nothing at the end or freak out and do few things and then few other and then none of them complete. One simple way of dealing with that feeling of being overwhelmed is to just start doing what I call baby step. That means just start a plan with a small little changes that are reasonable. When I say reasonable, don't put huge tasks if you're trying to make a change. Just start with a small baby step that you most likely can manage and it doesn't make you feel terribly overwhelmed. So for example, if you're saying to yourself, oh my God, I haven't done any exercise, that's fine, you know, but then say to yourself, okay, what is the first thing that I can do with the exercise? So the point is, don't make a promise to yourself you're going to exercise every day for an hour. That's ridiculous if you haven't done anything. So just be kind and compassionate to yourself. We're going to do a bit of that. And start with something small. So 5 minutes of this meditation or 10 minutes that I have given you today can be something you start doing every evening. And that's already an exercise, because exercise might be a mind exercise, not necessarily body exercise. Okay. We're probably not going to be able to go through each and every of these. Connect, focus on what you can control. So for example, adjust your finances. Contact the HR at your work and discuss work issues. Bring some fun into daily chores such as cooking. Connect. So I'm saying to people, please use party apps and make sure that you have regular Zoom contacts with your grandparents, with your parents, with your friends. Now, very important to self-nurture and express. So what I'm saying to people is, you know, it's a very difficult time trying to not hold everything inside, but rather acknowledge and express what are those negative feelings, what are those anxieties, write them down and just get them out of yourself. Don't keep everything in. Self-nurturing things like warm bath with the candles, walk, we now can walk, garden, journal, sing, dance. Put the music on and just go a bit wild for 5 minutes. It's a very good exercise, okay? Be mindful and acknowledge fears and anxiety. So what I find people are doing is they think that the positive thinking is that you just distract yourself and you don't think about what's going on in your head. That doesn't always work. Sometimes the more you try and run away from what's worrying you, the more it sort of goes on in your head. So the better way is to actually write it down and look at it, not run away from it, and then maybe get some ideas from yourself and online, post, Google, talk to friends to how do you actually address that rather than just try and avoid it. Remember what worked and what you did well. So very important point is to work on your strengths. Don't forget, this is perhaps a bit of an unusual crisis, but this is not the first crisis we have, neither in our country, neither in the world, neither in our lives. So we all gone through some or the other problems or crises in our lives. What can be helpful is if we remind ourselves, what are our strengths? What has worked for me in the past? So try and go back to some of the things you did in the past when you have been in the crisis situation, and that may just help you again now.